Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Just want to do a quick recap of last week's message. We talked about Psalms 91 and verse 1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. We learned what dwell and abide means. We know that's contemporary translation to the Hebrew word yada, which means to have a intimate or covenant relationship with God. And dwelling in that secret place is when you get in that quiet time and you enter into prayer and into worship with God, so that you can ultimately partake in the protective promises that are offered in Psalms 91. And this week really is no different. This week we'll be looking at verse 2 of Psalms 91. And it says, I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. And the psalmist here tells us, I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge. A refuge is a place that you can fall back to in times of distress, in uncertain circumstances. If you're not sure what to do, you just take refuge. If you were outside and a severe rainstorm popped up or a severe thunderstorm popped up, you would take refuge somewhere out of the weather, somewhere where it's dry and you can stay protected from the elements that are around you. The next part of that the psalmist talks about is a fortress. And a fortress here is a little bit different, as most of the time we think of a fortress, especially in a Bible sense, a fortress is a place of protection in the midst of a battle. So if you were to go into battle, in Ephesians it talks about being able to quench the fiery darts that the enemy throws our way. If you were in a fortress that's built and is set up in a way that keeps you protected from the attack of the enemy that's coming against you from the outside in. It's a safe haven, and it helps protect you in those times of attack. And see, what we learn here is that the love of Jesus is eternal. And in Romans, the 8th chapter, verses 35 through 39, tells us that the love of God is so strong that nothing by any means, any way, can harm us or take us away from that love of God. And as we talked about in a previous video, in Romans 8, it also says we are more than conquerors through Christ who loved us. And the last part of Psalms 91 in verse 2 says, my God, in Him will I trust. The psalmist here says, I put all my faith, all my trust in the promises of God, that He alone is the only one that can ultimately protect me from the attacks against me by the enemy. And so that's what we see here in this verse. And we'll see in verses in the upcoming weeks that talk about the different attributes of God as being a place of refuge, a place of shelter, a place to seek protection from different elements that may or may not try to come against you and attack you. I hope this video in some way has blessed you or encouraged you. If it has, I would just ask that you ring the notification bell, leave a comment, like the video, share it with your friends and family. I'd like to know where you're watching from, so leave me a message in the comments. Tell me where you're watching from. And if you're standing in faith, believing for something, leave me a comment. For the Bible tells us that where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, the name of Jesus, that name that is above every name, there He is right in the midst. And where 2 or 3 agree as touching any one thing, whatever they ask, it shall be given to them. So if you're believing for household salvation, if you're believing for healing in your body, if you're believing for a loved one to be set free from suicidal thoughts, if you're struggling with depression or anxiety, if you just need a better job, if you're looking for a church to call home and you need somebody to stand in agreement with you, then leave me a comment at the bottom of this video, and I'll be sure to pray with you, stand in agreement. For the Bible tells us 1 can chase 1,000 and 2 can put 10,000 to flight. If 2 can put 10,000 to flight, imagine how many more we can put to flight if 3 or 4 in the comments can stand in faith and agree with you for whatever it is you're believing for. I hope this message has blessed you, and I hope you have a wonderful and blessed week. God bless.